Putin, will be talking about him, Russia, and also we'll talk about Israel, the Zionist forces. Now, Putin to strike US and UK next. Russian leaders' most direct threat to surprise the West with a lot more attacks, the one we have seen in Ukraine with the intermediate range missile that hit Ukraine's Dnipro. More and more missile attacks are coming from Russia in a way that was not seen before. Russian President Vladimir Putin has made his intentions clear, warning that the West's action in Ukraine could lead to direct strikes on the US and UK. This comes after both NATO powers allowed Ukraine to use long-range missiles, including US-supplied ATACMS and UK-provided Storm Shadow missiles. To target Russia's positions, Putin described the ongoing conflict as having the characteristics of a global war. Now, this is where things get very, very dangerous. Characteristic of a global war. Not just coming from Putin, but also coming from an ex-Ukrainian military general who said, quote unquote, World War III has begun. We'll play the video in a second and let you know exactly what he said and some of the analysis done on the Western media, Fox News. This guy was invited. He's a 4-star army general, and he gave his opinion, and he pointed out that we are just at the beginning of this huge conflict that could escalate into World War III. And then they have quoted also this ex-Ukrainian military general who said this is actually the World War III. We are not to be deceived by what is happening at the moment. But before I move on, just to remind you guys, most of my viewers are not subscribed. If you happen to be one of them, consider subscribing. So what I want to do is, before I share with you how Israel is getting defeated every single day, and they have faced one of the biggest losses since October 7th. Now, this is what, let's jump back to what we were talking about, Putin's statement about global war. So he emphasized that Putin's warnings are not mere words. In a surprise address, he stressed that these threats carry serious and real consequences for the West. But the West, as we know, are not paying heed. They are saying that Putin is just bluffing. Now, Putin, he ordered attack on U.S. military sites, defense firms, FBI, other agencies issue big alert. What kind of alert? Well, the alert is very simple. If you are working in Ukraine and you are a U.S. citizen, you are a contractor, you are a military personnel, doesn't matter who you are, as long as you are in Ukraine, you will be targeted by Putin. FBI and multiple other defense agencies issued a stern warning to defense companies with links to Ukraine. U.S. intelligence officials fear sabotage. Now, let's talk about this particular news. In the recent time, we have seen how these cables were cut off in Eastern Europe. Countries like Poland, Germany, Sweden, some of these countries got affected by this cable disruption. A lot of people accused Russia for that. But do you know who is doing all of this? According to other sources, they're claiming it is the Chinese who are doing this work. What does it mean? It means that China is actively participating in this war between Russia and NATO. Russia said US and UK, they are now directly involved in attacks against Russia. The word important here is direct attack on Russia. This is what Russia said. US, UK, you guys are fighting with me on one-on-one directly. What do you think China will do? They are also going to be involved in this war now directly. Because Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, all of these countries, they're cooperating at a level that was never seen ever before. Means if you attack one of these countries, they feel equal pain, equal loss. It has become like that in the last at least 3-4 years. It is becoming ever more clear that these countries are aligning together with Russia and China. So Putin, he ordered this kind of attack, and FBI is now warning anybody working in Ukraine from US and UK should pack and leave. So these agencies from Russian agencies and urge companies to remain cautious while disclosing work, travel, personal, and family information online. So again, these people, they must be extra careful now, because all of these people are now legitimate target. Now let's talk about a little bit about Israel and what is happening between Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Israeli terrorist forces. Then I will actually play a video about Ukraine and Russia war and how it is escalating to become the World War III. We'll end with that. But let's take a look at this map, guys. This map is important for us to understand the conflict in Gaza. IDF, they have sent their high-ranking officials in this place, Beit Lahia. You see Beit Lahia right here. This is the place where they are now concentrating their military, the Israeli forces. Why? Because this is the place where Jabalia camp, refugee camp, is also located. Israeli Zionist forces, they have to come back to this place again and again and again and again. Why? Because every time they declare this place to be free of Hamas, the very next moment they see Hamas members coming back. Now they are not just coming back, Hamas members, fighters, they're actually attacking at an unprecedented level on the IDF forces. So what happened recently is this. When they were talking, they were gathering, the IDF forces, when they were gathering in Beit Lahia, as a group, 15 soldiers decided to go on foot patrol. Means they did not have the tanks, they did not have the support. They were just walking on the street thinking that this area is cleared, no safety, security issues. We have cleared this area from Hamas, 15 of them. All of a sudden, all of these 15 terrorists, they came under direct attack, face to face with Hamas. And guess what? All of them got eliminated. All of them. And this is why I said this is one of the biggest losses for the Zionist forces. So Beit Lahia, at the same time, we know because they cannot win in this camp, Jabalia camp that you see on the screen, this is where they are committing genocide and atrocities, and they're sending fighter jets to bomb this whole area, killing innocent people. This is where it is happening. Because they cannot defeat Hamas, what they do, they commit genocide. And this is why we call them diaper army. And this is why Netanyahu should be arrested, he should be locked up, he should be held responsible for all of this genocide he's committing. While his army is the weakest in the world. And the diaper army, they live up to that label every single day because these are cowards. They wear diapers, they kill women and children. That's why we call them diaper army. So guys, for Israel, this is doomsday. This is what is happening at the moment. So heavy clashes in Gaza. IDF suffers a big blow, soldiers killed, injured in Hamas attack. In ongoing clashes between Israeli forces and Hamas in northern Gaza, Israeli soldier staff Sergeant Ron Epstein, 19, from the Givati Brigade, was killed by shrapnel during heavy fighting in Jabalia. 2 other soldiers were also injured. The attack brings the death toll of Israeli soldiers in Gaza to 380. So this is the official estimation, 380, but total it is in the hundreds, if not thousands, of Israeli terrorist forces got killed. As Israel maintains a total siege on northern region to force Hamas to surrender, they see no sign of Hamas giving it up. And this is what is driving them crazy. Because they have everything they wanted, they needed. Manpower, aerial bombardment, air power, tanks, Markava tanks, soldiers, money, weapon, everything. Still they cannot clear this small area called Jabalia refugee camp, northern Gaza. Still they are unable to do anything with that. And this is why things are getting very, very frustrating for the Zionist state. Now let's go back to the Russia situation. I am switching back and forth because I think it is equally important for us to discuss both Israel and Hamas, the genocide, and also Ukraine, Russia, because we will not be here talking about any of this if we don't know or raise our voice against this World War III, potential World War III. So we need to really pay attention. Let's take a look at this discussion on Fox News, because this general, he made it absolutely clear as to what we can expect.
News alert now, the former commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian army making the grim declaration World War III has officially begun as the country faces pressure from North Korea and Iran. Now Russia retaliating with new ballistic missiles after Biden gave Ukraine the green light to fire long-range attack missiles into Russia, and the UK gave their green light with their Storm Shadows. So let's bring retired four-star General Jack Keane. So you see the response from Putin, an experimental intermediate-range missile. Why do you think Putin fired back like that? What's he worried about, General?
Yeah, well, first of all, Putin is really a master of psychological warfare, and in the Soviet Union and Russian playbooks, it always has been a...
Okay, so I don't know why they're under this delusion that this is somehow a psychological warfare. This is by the way, this guy is U.S. Army, fourth-star general. His name is Keane, and Jack Keane, and he's giving his own opinion. But we see every single time when the Western media brings an expert, so-called expert, they say, oh, this is just Putin's bluffing. Well, this is just psychological warfare. Nothing is going to happen. But people who are on the ground, for example, the Ukrainian generals, they know this is not bluffing. They know this is not just a psychological warfare. It is actually much worse than this. But I want you to take a listen at him when he was asked a few other questions.
I doubt they have any arsenal of it because it is experimental. They don't have much of it. And he's trying to use this as much leverage as he can to change the behavior of the United States and also Zelensky.
He says the missile goes 2.5 miles per second. The world's current air defense cannot stop it, according to what we have. So that's the message he sent. So the former military commander in Ukraine writes this. Soldiers from North Korea are standing in front of Ukraine. Let's be honest, the Iranian SYED missiles are killing civilians, drones. It is obvious that Ukraine already has too many enemies. Why not say this is a world war? You feel like this is a world war beginning?
Well, I have some empathy for Zelensky, by the way, and for our audience. You know, he used to be the chief of staff of all the forces in Ukraine, and he's highly respected. But, you know, you're sitting where he is, you can understand his feelings about this. I mean, he's fighting Russia, and now another nation state has come into the war to assist in the overthrow of Ukraine. And to truth be known, all the escalation talk has all been about the United States giving the green light to Ukraine to use ATACMS and moving in mines. The real escalation is there's another nation fighting on the ground inside of Ukraine, inside of Russia, attempting to push the Ukrainian forces out of it. That's significant. He looks in the Middle East and he sees Russia's ally also, who started a war there, Iran, and Iran is a tangible provider of assistance. So from his...
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to pause here a little bit, guys. So if you take a look at this overall situation, it is quite obvious that there are several countries who are already at war against each other. This war in Ukraine involves one party where you have Russia, North Korea, Iran, because Iranian SYED drones, they are being used, Iranian kamikaze and Russian missiles and weapons even from China is being used. On the other hand, you have now Israel, where Russia, according to one report, is supplying Hezbollah with weapons and technology. So on both fronts, we are seeing multiple parties are getting involved, fighting against each other. And on the other side of the spectrum in Ukraine war, one side you have Russia, North Korea, China, Iran. On the other side, you have now openly US and UK fighting against Russia. So it is no longer can we contain this? Is it still manageable? Is what we really need to question about. According to what we understand, we have seen Putin showing maximum restraint. He's not still going to use a nuclear warhead, but how long we can see him being so patient, we do not know. Especially when you have a guy, a moron who is running the show from the West, Joe Biden, and also kid starver, then you can expect only worse. Guys, what is happening right now is something very, very bad. The situation can get out of hand anytime, and we might see the start of a World War III. It is already underway. It's just that it is not getting escalated to that level of destruction and warfare. But it will be escalated to that level very, very soon if we don't stop it. If we don't stop it all together.